Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan and today we're talking all about our Game Week 2 captains. So it's the most important decision of your week. Often your whole game week will be defined by how many points you get from your captain. So super important. I've picked out 5 today that I think are going to do really well, and anyone sort of outside these 5 I would really struggle to recommend. So just go for someone in this 5, take your pick of one of them. So yeah, before we go any further, please do like this video if you do enjoy my stuff. Please do subscribe if you've not done already. Just hit 30,000 subscribers, which is just amazing, but hoping we can push towards 40 next. I don't know, it's just an amazing journey. It really is awesome, so please do help me out by subscribing. But yeah, without further ado, let's look at some of my 5 captain picks. So starting from the 5th best choice in my opinion, I have gone for James Rodriguez. Now let me list a few stats from his debut against Spurs. I know I spoke about this in my last video, but I think this is really relevant in terms of captaincy. So 11 successful final third passes, 5 chances created, 1 big chance created, 3 shots, 2 of which were inside the box, and expected assists of something like 0.5, around 0.5. And he seemed to be on some set pieces at least as well. So he had a corner he took. He could potentially take some free kicks. He's known for his free kicks. And I don't know, maybe even a penalty as well. Not sure, don't want to speculate, but it could happen. And all of this, of course, was in an away game against a defensive Spurs side. So Jose Mourinho's Spurs, a really defensive team. So if James Rodriguez can do all of this against a defensive Spurs side, you know, one of your big 6 teams in a new Everton team that's their first game with an entire new midfield, imagine what they can do against West Brom. So West Brom did struggle a little bit against Leicester, and Leicester didn't even look that good. Leicester, of course, depended on their penalties to score against West Brom, so you never know, we could see a bit of a resurgence on that. And you know, Everton looks so promising that they should beat West Brom, just because West Brom didn't look good against Leicester, a Leicester team that didn't look good themselves. Everton looked really good against Spurs, you know, and they're now at home as well. So there's a few little pieces of the puzzle that are coming together that make me think James Rodriguez could be a generally okay captaincy choice for this game week. Now, the only reason that I personally would not pick James Rodriguez as my captain, and this is also the reason why he is so far down the list, is because he's not a premium player, which breaks my personal rule of only captaining premiums. I sort of only really want to captain a player worth 8.5 million or more for the whole season, because if you start captaining people less than that, then the reason why they're that cheap is because they pose more of a risk, and you do want a little bit of solidity and consistency for captains, and that is provided by the premium options. So unless James Rodriguez can prove over several game weeks that he is on par with the premium players, then I really struggle to see how I can captain him even in a nice fixture against West Brom. But yeah, that's James Rodriguez. If you have him, he is worth a shout, but I do think there are better options. So let's go through some better options. So Anthony Martial. Now, many people have opted for Martial as their Manchester United player that they brought in this game week after obviously Manchester United blanked in game week 1, so maybe you had Martial on your bench, maybe you've now just transferred in Martial, and I think that's a solid choice. I think it's probably a solid transfer depending on who you took out. He's probably not the best captaincy option, but definitely someone you can go for if you don't have any higher up the list, or if there's any higher up the list here that you don't really fancy. So he enjoyed an incredible season last year for United with a goal contribution average of twice every 3 games. So odds are always in your favour for him to get a goal contribution in any given game. He actually got something like 22 goals and 11 assists in all of his appearances in all competitions for Manchester United last year, which is a really genuinely really good record. So I think this is going to be even more impressive because he's going to have a whole season now with Donny van der Beek, Pogba, Bruno Fernandes around him. Just this incredible midfield quality, which we saw a little bit of the back end of last season, where Martial had all of this incredible quality around him, Rashford as well, that he was able to get so many more chances, and he was feeling more clinical, he was more confident, and he was getting goals. And yeah, I don't see why he can't do that. And also, he offers assist potential just because he's got all these great players around him. He can lay it off to the other players who will then score it. So, yeah, looking really good in Manchester United's attack. And Martial is one of the main guys, obviously, in that attack. You know, he's nailed himself on as the first choice striker for a much improved Manchester United team. So, let's see what he can do. I think he's going to have a really strong year. And, yeah, you could captain him if you wanted to. Now, number 3 is Mo Salah, and obviously I've got to put Mo Salah in this list. He scored 20 points in game week 1, which is just an incredible start, isn't it, really? Absolutely amazing. And, although he won't be getting 2 penalties every game, and that you can say that's a little bit of luck, the luck factor in him scoring 2 penalties, he was perhaps unlucky to not get an assist. He was creating chances as well, Mo Salah, in that game. But Mo Salah, he's been a consistently solid captain choice for the past 3 years, and that's not going to change anytime soon. So even in a game against Chelsea, you can still have a little bit of trust for Salah just because he's been so consistent for so many years. So he's greedy, he wants goals, he's already leading the charge for the Golden Boot, which I'm sure he wants to reclaim. And although on paper Chelsea looks like a difficult game, they didn't actually look as good as, some people might think they looked against Brighton. They did look like they had some fragilities, and, a team with a bit more quality could have perhaps beaten Chelsea. Also with a goalkeeper like Kepa, if a team shoots enough, eventually Kepa will make a mistake and let a goal in. And what Salah does is he shoots like crazy. He doesn't stop shooting. He shoots so many times, and that sort of weights it in his favour. So yeah, perhaps Salah is the guy, just because he takes loads of shots, and Chelsea are not quite at the races yet. I think Chelsea will come good, but I don't think they're quite at the races yet. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, the concern, the downside of putting Mo Salah as your captain is obviously it's an away fixture against a big team, and that's typically the opposite of what you want to be doing. You want to be going for three criteria really is the great things for when choosing a captain. You choose a premium player, you choose them when they're playing at home, and you choose them when they're playing a team in the lower half of the table, if you like. And of course, Mo Salah only fits one of those criteria in the fact that he's a premium player, and the other two not so much. So let's move on to some players that perhaps fit a little bit more of those criteria. So these 2 final players are the 2 players that realistically I think are the best captain choices. Anyone outside of that, I would say, is a little bit of a risk, a little bit of a punt. But these 2, both very solid captaincy choices. So Bruno Fernandes at number 2. Last season, Bruno scored an average of 8.4 points per game across 14 games. So it's not even a small data set. 8.4 points a game. That's absolutely amazing. This included 8 goals, 8 assists, and, he got that game of those 3 games in a row that I will never forget, where he scored 15 points, and then next week he scored 14 points, and then the next week he scored another 14 points. And it's just like, wow, will this player ever stop hauling? Obviously, he did start getting some slightly lower scores, like 8 points and 7 points, but even that's pretty good. He will be on most set pieces and penalties. I mean, he's going to be probably on all set pieces and most penalties. I think there's a little bit of concern that Rashford might take a few penalties, but I think Bruno's going to be the main man at penalties just because he's so good at them. And so far, it's been the season of penalties, hasn't it? Vardy got 2. Vardy looked pretty poor other than the penalties, to be honest. Salah got 2, which turned his, what could have been a good score into an amazing score. Jorginho obviously got the penalty against Brighton, which he scored. The assist went to Werner, who a lot of us own. So yeah, a lot of penalties going around at the moment. Palace did look defensively solid last week, but you could argue that that's because Southampton looked poor going forward. Palace did, however, concede a lot of set pieces, and this is what we're talking about. A player like Bruno Fernandes, who takes a lot of set pieces, and Palace, a team that concedes a lot of set pieces. Is it a match made in heaven? Perhaps. I don't know. That's for you to judge. But he's the main man at United. He's fit. He's ready to go. He's he's just going to be on all set pieces. He's just going to be probably the highest scoring player for Manchester United this season, if last season is anything to go by. And if you think Palace are not as strong defensively as they showed themselves to be in last game, then Bruno could very well be your man. Now, finally, I've gone for Aubameyang once again. Now, Hear me out. So he had a better non-penalty expected goals last game, than Salah. So in terms of who was more likely to score goals, excluding penalties, it was Aubameyang. So he was still a really good choice, and Aubameyang perhaps unlucky not to get an assist last game as well. So I'll read out some stats, and it looks good. It looks favourable. So 16 of Aubameyang's 22 goals last season were against bottom half opposition. 8 goals and 2 assists Aubameyang has scored in his last 6 home starts. So we've got a home game against a bottom half side. This is sort of Aubameyang's bread and butter, really, isn't it? So West Ham looked poor in that opening game against Newcastle, and Arsenal at home should really be able to do some damage. They allowed almost as many shots against Newcastle, this is West Ham, as Leeds did against Liverpool. So newly promoted Leeds against champions Liverpool West Ham versus Newcastle were almost as receiving as many shots. So, which is just incredible. In fact, they actually allowed 10 shots in the box. 10 shots against West Ham in the box last game from Newcastle. You imagine a clinical guy like Aubameyang, he scores a couple of those, doesn't he? You know, Aubameyang is a player who has so much quality in finishing that perhaps some Newcastle players don't have. That if he gets 10 chances in the box, I'm not saying all the chances will go to Aubameyang, but if he gets 10 chances in the box, he probably scores 8 or 9 of them, doesn't he? So he won't get quite that many chances. But even if he gets 3 chances, if he scores 2 of them, absolutely amazing, isn't it? Just because Aubameyang is so clinical. He's also the kind of guy the guy at Arsenal who gets all of the points. There's not really any other player in Arsenal who gets anywhere near near Aubameyang's total score across the season, and therefore Aubameyang is the only guy I would trust with captaining. Even a Willian I wouldn't trust. I would only trust Aubameyang in this Arsenal top side for my captain's armband. So yeah, I know I said Aubameyang last time. Salah did end up scoring more, but I'm going to trust Aubameyang again. He is my choice. He is going to have my captain's armband for this game week. I really do strongly feel like he's going to be the top point scorer for this game week. So it's a fairly easy choice for me, actually. And I think Aubameyang is going to make everyone who sold him this game week really regret their decision, and everyone who now doesn't trust him because of his 7-pointer last game week, which wasn't nearly as good as he actually was in that game. It doesn't prove how good he was in that actual game, because he was better than 7 points, quite frankly. I think you're going to regret it if you completely disregard Aubameyang. So at least consider him for your captaincy. But yeah, that's it. That's the video. Choose who you feel is going to be the best captaincy based on what I've said. This is just my logic. This is my rationale as to why I'm choosing Aubameyang as my captain, and why I think the other guys are good options as well. I honestly think if you choose someone on this list, you'll do okay. I don't think you've got anything to worry about. But yes, listen. Here are what I've had to say, and just choose who you think is going to be your best captain. But yeah, please do leave a like if this has helped in any way help you make this decision for your captaincy. Obviously, it's a very important decision. Please do subscribe if you haven't done already. Aiming for 40,000 subscribers next, I guess, which is just incredible to say. It really is amazing. And check out my description. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram. Join my Patreon, join my mini league, so much stuff in my description, so go check that out. And that's just about it for today. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do wish you very good luck in game week 2. I will see you on Monday for a reaction stream after the Man City against Wolves game. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye bye.